The Dodge Family.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Working Mama Wednesday. If you're new to our channel, my name is Kimmy, and we make videos on motherhood, obviously my life as a working mom, and my daughter, all those fun things. So if you're interested in that, make sure you hit subscribe, and we would love to connect with you further. For those of you who have been with us for a while, you know that I haven't been doing a Working Mama Wednesday. I had a lot of different moms contribute to the series, which I appreciate. And if you're one of the working moms on the YouTube community and you'd like to contribute, make sure you leave me a comment below, because I would like to have more people featured as the series continues on. But I wanted to kind of jump back in the saddle and share a little bit of my perspective and things about me, since, you know, I am a working mom and I started the series. So I figured I should add another video, since it hasn't been one from my perspective since the series started. So I have a link to the playlist if you guys want to get caught up on the videos that we've shared. But today I wanted to talk about, why am I a working mom? I had a viewer, well, I've had viewers over time, but recently I had somebody comment, I want to say it was either here or on Instagram, I can't remember where it was, but they had left me a comment asking if I would talk about why I work. Is it because of choice, or is it because of necessity? So if you have followed our channel for a long time, I did talk about this, I want to say in one of my Life of a Working Mommy updates, maybe a long time ago. I know I did mention it. Initially, when Emma was born, where we were at in life at that point, I definitely worked out of necessity. We had a lot of things go on when Emma was born. Initially, where do I start? So at that point in time, my husband had been working at his company for, gosh, 5 years, 6 years. We were still fairly young. I mean, I was 24 when I got pregnant with Emma, and my husband was 25 at that time. We got married young. We were both 21 when we got married, and we were kind of at early points in our career path at that point in time. When Emma got married, I wouldn't say that we were financially unstable, but I think we just had enough to maintain kind of where we were, but we made the decision to jump in both feet and just start a family. As far as a lot of people our age, I think we were relatively responsible and did well. I mean, we were able to purchase our first home when we were engaged, which is something that most people at 20 years old couldn't do. But that didn't come without a lot of work at our point. I mean, I had started before, when Scott and I first got married. At that point in time, I was a receptionist. I was working at the front desk, and I will tell you how much I was making. I was making, how much was I making? $12.50 an hour at that point, which is not a lot of money when all things considered. And so at that point in time, Scott was the #1 financial earner for our family, and he worked crazy. I mean, he worked crazy hours to keep us afloat. I mean, not to, like, you know, keep us so we had a bunch of extra spending money. At that point, it was just like scraping the bottom of the barrel every month and being able to pay our bills, pay our mortgage, pay our electricity, all of those things. And I think a lot of people can relate to that when you're, you know, young and you're newlywed and you're just starting your life. It's just, you're kind of getting by. And he was working a lot of overtime when in the first year, 2 years of our marriage. Anyways, I gave kind of that backstory to say that was kind of where we were, you know, right about when we made the decision to start having a family. And we didn't get pregnant right away. As you guys know, if you watched any of our early videos, it took us about a year to get pregnant with Emma. Anyways, at that point in our lives, I had actually been offered a different position within my current company to change from the receptionist to customer service, which I made more money at that point. It was like a couple dollar jump, I want to say. It wasn't a ton of money more, but it was more money than I was making. And being my background in customer service, that just was a good fit naturally for myself. So that is where I kind of was when Emma was born. Now, when Emma was born, we didn't have the money for me to be a stay-at-home mom. It wasn't like I was making a ton of money, but we weighed the options of what we would pay in daycare versus what I was making, and I still came out ahead every month instead of like breaking even. Had I broke even, where, you know, what I was making is what we were paying in daycare, we would have made a different decision about me being a working mom versus a stay-at-home mom, working part-time or working full-time. And if you guys, like I said, have followed us for a while, at that point in time, my mom was actually caring for Emma for her daycare, and it was a very minimal daycare cost that we paid my mom to watch her. So at that point in time, we just made the decision that it made the most sense for me to go back to work. Well, when Emma was born, my husband ended up losing his job at the company he was working at a week after Emma was born, which, as you can imagine, having a new baby, having me on maternity leave, there was just a lot going on, and a lot of financial hardship at that point that I never actually even talked about. I don't think I've ever shared that, but it did happen. And so I was on maternity leave, my husband had lost his job, and here we were with a new baby. So at that point, it was no brainer. He didn't have a job. Of course I was going to go back to work. My husband ended up getting another job in April, which was a couple weeks before I went back to work, and then ended up getting laid off from there as well, which that was a mess. So I went back to work. My husband actually wasn't working. So like I said, again, no brainer, of course. I didn't have a choice at that point to be a stay-at-home mom versus a working mom. A month and a half, I think, after I went back to work, and then my husband actually got a new job. Of course, then Emma went back to daycare with my mom, and it was a minimal daycare cost. So that's kind of where we were at that point in life, and that was the decision. It was definitely out of necessity at that point, more than anything else, because my husband had just started a new job. I was more tenured in my position, and I was at that point actually making slightly more money, not much, but slightly more than where my husband was. So that was kind of the decision at that point. As time has gone on and as things have changed, and now we're more in larger roles in our positions. I mean, specifically for me, over the last 8 years that I've been with my company, I've had a lot of promotion and a lot of success, as you guys know, which comes with work and hard work and all of those things. And so I do make a very good living for what I do right now. And I do make the majority of the money for our home. And that's not anything bad. It's not anything my husband wouldn't say to anybody. So it's not like a weird thing for me to say that, I guess you could say. It's just that, again, I'm more tenured in my position and I've been there longer. So there's part of that. And then additionally, there's just other components that factor into that. My role is just larger in what I do versus what my husband does in his position and career. So at this point, I mean, if we were to have another child and we made the decision for one of us to stay home, which we wouldn't, of the two of us, it would definitely be my husband that would stay home. It wouldn't even be me. So I guess I wanted to say that to say, even at this point in life, if we weighed the options and one of us made the decision to stay home versus not, it still wouldn't be me, because I make the most money, if that makes sense. I get a lot of questions as well as if I would like to be a stay-at-home mom, like if money wasn't an option, and if all of those things weren't a factor, would I be a stay-at-home mom? I feel like my position has changed a little bit on that over time, and maybe it's because Emma's older, and I feel like if I had another, maybe like a newborn, I might feel slightly different. When I first had Emma, the decision was 100% yes, I would love to be a stay-at-home mom. And I think part of that came from my anxiety of not knowing what it would be like to have her be in daycare. Would our bond be the same? Would she love me the same? Would the dynamic of our family be the same? Would there be a provider that I could trust and care for her? Would she grow in the same way as if I was home? So I had a lot of anxiety around never having walked that journey and not knowing what would come of it, if that makes sense. But I guess given my perspective now, having lived through her being in daycare her whole life, I guess I don't know if I would be a stay-at-home mom. I feel like because I'm a working mom and because of some of the decisions that we've made, we've been able to do things for Emma that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise if I wasn't or if I was a stay-at-home mom. If that makes sense. It's something that fits for our family, and I think it fits for my personality. I I really like my job. I really like the career path. I really like the way that I've been able to succeed and do well in what I do. And as I mentioned in our life update, I will link it if you didn't see that. There's just a lot of opportunities coming down the pipeline for me. And I feel very proud of myself for what I've accomplished outside of just being a mom. Not saying, please don't misconstrue. I'm trying to really cautiously word how I say this, because I feel like it's really easily misperceived when I say certain things like this. And being a mom, number one, is my greatest accomplishment in life. And when you are a stay-at-home mom, hats off to you. You deserve the world, because you work your booty off all day long, and people don't necessarily see or appreciate that. So please don't think that by me saying from my perspective that I'm diminishing that at all, because that's not it. So I just want to make that clear, because I feel like I get very attacked. The thumbs down army comes out full force every time I do a working mom video, and I think it's just because it's so easy to misconstrue what somebody's trying to say. Anyways, back to my point before I rabbit trailed. Back to my point. I do like my career. I like what I've done, what I've been able to accomplish, what I will be able to show my daughter when she's older, to say, you know, mommy was able to do this while giving you a good life. I don't know. It's something that makes me feel good about me. Just me, outside of everything else. If you strip all of that away and just look at me, it's like something for me. I feel like I said me a lot, but I'm sorry. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, I don't want to make this video too long, but I hope that answers your question of why am I a working mom. I feel like we've kind of journeyed through this ever since Emma was born. Initially, it was out of necessity. Today, it's not so much out of necessity as it is out of just being able to be successful and provide more for Emma by working than not, if that makes sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them as a comment below. And again, if you're a working mom and you would like to collab on this series, please leave me a comment. I'm looking for more mamas to share their perspectives. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. One that also has the silvery accents on it. This one, y'all, is my favorite. It is a big old bow. So look at this, so cute. She has it super layered, and it has all of this like lace. Oh,